episode of Boxing News Today. And today we're going to swing over to Ireland to give you some news about the upcoming Katie Taylor Chantelle Cameron fight. And this one features Paddy Donovan, the real deal. He's 11-0, undefeated welterweight, and he's going to be fighting on the undercard. And what you may not know about him is he used to actually spar with Katie Taylor. And in fact, his manager, if I'm not mistaken, his trainer is actually former WBO world middleweight champ Irish Andy Lee, who finished a career with a 35-3-1 record, whose cousin is unbeaten lineal and reigning WBA heavyweight champ Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to make mention that good to see that Paddy Donovan, who we've been following his career for a number of years now, he's going to be fighting his first title as a professional on the undercard of Katie Taylor's fight against Chantelle Cameron. He's going to be fighting the English welterweight champ, Danny Ball, who's 13-1-1, by the way, with 6 knockouts. It's going to be a 10-rounder for the WBA Continental Welterweight Championship. Thought I'd mention that before we got going, because we like Paddy Donovan here on Talkin' Fight. Golden Boy has announced the undercard for the return of super lightweights, King Ryan. Geez, I need another coffee. King Ryan Garcia, 23-1, 19 knockouts against Oscar Duarte, 26-1-1, 21 knockouts, taking place at the Toyota Center in Houston on December 2nd. The co-main event features O'Hara Davies, who we've mentioned on Talking Fight many times, 25-2, 18 knockouts, fighting against Ismael Barrasso, 24-4-2, 22 knockouts for the WBA interim super lightweight title. Should be a great fight. Another great fight on that card. Unbeaten Floyd Kid Austin Schofield. Many of you will remember him from Knuckle Up and Mike Orr talking about him in his early days. He's now 15-0, 11 knockouts, and he's facing Ricardo Torres, 17-7-3, and that'll be a 10-round fight. Fighting for the NABO middleweight championship, Shane Mosley returns to the ring, 20-4, 11 knockouts, and he's going to face Joshua Conley, 17-5-1, by the way, in a 10-round fight. And opening the card, light heavyweight Darius Wigham, 8-0, will fight Pacino Chino Hill, 8-4-1, 6 knockouts. There you go. We also had some weigh-ins out of Montreal, an Eye of the Tiger fight coming up. Steve Claggett is facing Miguel Medueno. Both made their weights for the NABF and NABO super lightweight title. Also on that card, you're going to see Steve Butler versus Ivan Alvarez, Fernando Galvan taking on Iman Katiev, Jaime Lopez versus Mehmet Unal, Gregoris Mardaya versus Wilkins Mathieu, and Christian Lozano versus Moreno Fodero. It's taking place at the casino in Montreal, in Canada, as I said, promoted by Eye of the Tiger. Seen on many boxing channels around the world very recently, Shakur Stevenson outside the T-Mobile Arena, along with Edwin de los Santos, mixing it up with sparring partners and various other people, both in the ring and outside the ring. Anyway, having this to say, Shakur Stevenson said his mind is made up that he wants Vasily Lomachenko next after his fight upcoming against Edwin de los Santos, as I said, taking place at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. But when pressed in an interview on whether Top Rank has confirmed that Lomachenko will be his next opponent, Shakur, who's 20-0, by the way, 10 knockouts, admitted that they haven't told him yet. His hope is that the former 3-division world champion Loma will be delivered to him. Unfortunately for Shakur, Loma is thought to be fighting George Kambosos Jr. next, and that's a fight that Top Rank would want to make. And his opponent, Edwin de los Santos, had this to say. He views the former 2-division world champion Stevenson as a good fighter, but he sees him as a runner, and he won't be able to get away with that approach in their fight for that vacant WBC lightweight title. De los Santos, by the way, he's 16-1, 14 knockouts, states that the ring won't be big enough for Shakur to run all night, and sooner or later he'll have to stop, and that's when he intends to get him. So the Stevenson versus De Los Santos fight will be shown on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus at the T-Mobile Arena What's it, today is, yeah, so in a couple of days, roughly 48 hours from now, the co-feature between WBO super featherweight champ Emmanuel Navarrete and Robson Conchecho should be an interesting fight. It's possible that if Shakur and Navarrete win their fights, they could meet at some point in the future in 2024. And courtesy of boxing247.com, Shakur is going to have to show some aggressiveness if he wants to win this fight. And it's not going to be going to work for him if he's going to get outpunched all night by Dos Santos. That goes without saying, doesn't it? Edwin Dos Santos had this to say: "I don't feel any pressure. I've dedicated myself completely, so I know what I have to do. I've done it in camp, which I'm doing in the fight. Defense doesn't win fights. That's why we're going to be, wow." Tim Witherspoon from our Friday night panel might disagree with that, but he said, defense doesn't win fights. That's why we're going to have hard punches to counterattack that defense. Yeah, I've noticed that when he fights against hard punches, he takes care of himself a little bit too much. So he's going to have problems with me. For me, I would say Gervonta Davis, because the quality of boxing, when asked who's going to look forward to fighting next, he has great punching power, and I'd be satisfied with Tank, as well as Devin Haney next. Moving along, let's go into the heavyweights. Let's see what's happening in the heavyweight division here. A whole bunch of stuff. A lot of people, obviously, in the boxing world disappointed that they're not going to see Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder on December 23rd. If that fight is fleshed out and the entire card comes to fruition, definitely won't see Joshua take on Wilder. Instead, I believe Joshua will be fighting Otto Wallin. Now, that's kind of interesting for Wallin because the outcome of the Fury Usyk, whoever's the winner, must face the mandatory challenger, who's Filip Hrgovic, which is unlikely to happen due to a contractual rematch clause. So the winner will be stripped, and Hrgovic is expected to fight for the vacant belt against the next available contender. So I guess Wallin is hoping to step into those shoes. Elsewhere, what's next for Fury, asks sportingnews.com. Well, that was all tied up with a pretty bow before Nagano flipped the script. It was supposed to be the IBF, WBA, WBO, and ring champion Alexander Usyk back in Saudi Arabia on the 23rd. But as we know, that's been pushed forward over to 2024, probably February, if that happens at all. And it would have been, by the way, and if it is to happen, it will be the first undisputed heavyweight title since Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield tangled back in 1999. Of course, we all know Fury heavily inferred during Nagano's fight week that Usyk was running scared from their December date and threatened to sue the Ukrainian if he neglected to share a ring with him. And he since changed his tune, instrument, and musical genre by the time he was sporting a black eye on Sunday morning after the fight. He said, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it to the guys who are promoting and putting events on. I'm just going to go back now, take a rest, and get back in the gym. Yeah, he better get back in the gym, if you ask me. When it was put to him, his promoter, Frank Warren, had said the Usyk bout would be pushed until next year. He concluded by saying, I'll see y'all sometime next year. Have a good Christmas. If I don't see you, have a happy New Year. If you ask me, hardly fighting words. Anyway, let's conclude with a pretty funny story. Well, okay, not too funny, because Tim Witherspoon does talk about this often, about getting back in the ring. And as we know, Tim is, I think, in his 60s. Anyway, as we recently reported, Razor Ruddock and James Tomey went at it toe-to-toe down Kingston, Jamaica. Bit of a farcical fight. But anyway, another, shall we say, former heavyweight has thrown his hat into the ring. Goes like this. A 51-year-old former champion has declared that he has lost no power ahead of an apparent return to the ring. They say that power is the last thing to leave a boxer, and that's what Shannon Briggs will be hoping. Did I say Briggs? And that's what Shannon Briggs will be hoping for should he step back into the ring after almost a decade out. Briggs hails from the same area of Brooklyn as Mike Tyson. He's known for his famous catchphrase, "Let's go, champ." as well as his knockout loss to Lennox Lewis. His wild pursuit for a fight with then unified champ Vladimir Klitschko and fights with the likes of George Foreman, Francois Buetta, and Ray Mersa. And we all know Francois right now is working with Talkin Fight to help us live stream a whole bunch of African fights from Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, down to Madagascar, across the west coast to Ghana and Nigeria, as well as from South Africa and other African countries as well. So we're looking forward to working with Francois, who obviously had his time in the ring with Shannon Briggs, it seems. The Cannon, however, has not fought since the first round knockout of Emilio Zarate back in 2016 in London's O2 Arena, but has had a fight lined up for the next year against American mixed martial artist, actor, and former professional wrestler Rampage, aka Quentin Jackson. On the air, Briggs has explained to the former UFC light heavyweight champion why he hasn't fought in 7 years. The only reason I haven't been active is nobody will fight me. They're scared. Oh my gosh. He was then asked why he thinks people won't fight him. Listen, look at my resume. I'm 51 years old and I still hit hard. I'm still an animal. Look at me. You don't lose power, no power lost, and I can still take a punch. I'm coming back. Yeah, this is my first fight. I'll go on a 10-fight run. That's my goal. Tyson Fury? Yeah. I want to get back in shape, champ. I want to give myself about a year or two, fight myself back in shape, and then I want to go for something big. I want real boxers, 100%. I want to go for the title. Why not? Oh my goodness. Does it ever end? All right. Good stuff. Thanks for joining me here on Talk and Fight. I appreciate it very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time here on Talk and Fight. Thanks very much. Oops.